Wanted to bring in now Jody Weis, former Chicago Police Department Superintendent who served under then Mayor Richard Daley. Welcome, sir, and thanks so much for coming on today. Based on what you've seen, the preparations already underway, do you believe that Chicago is prepared to handle these protesters?
I do. They've been preparing for this, Emma, for a long time. This is not something they woke up today and thought they'd figure out a game plan. They've been working on this for 18 months. Historically, they've always brought in outside agencies to assist them when needed. When we had President Obama's election night, we brought in outside agencies to help in the outer lying areas. But this is going to be a challenge for them because there's just an unknown number of protesters coming in, and it's a big number, and that is going to be difficult. Chicago PD can handle normal crowds. This one is going to be a bit of a challenge if it happens as we anticipate with the number of protests.
Yeah, tens of thousands there with a permit, staging set up. They have bathrooms in that area, so they're going to be there for quite some time. And then there are others that are going to participate without permits, as they have told media and press. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker was on CNN yesterday. He was asked about these protests as well as whether it could resemble anything like Chicago '68.
It's a whole different situation, and honestly, I expect that we're going to have peaceful protests. We're going to protect the protesters, but also protect all the people visiting, 50,000 people coming to Chicago, and the residents of Chicago. So the plan's been in place for a year and a quarter now already. We're going to execute on that plan the next 4 days. If there are troublemakers, they're going to get arrested, and they're going to get convicted. But the fact is that the vast majority of people who are protesting, and we've seen this before, are, peaceful protesters. They want to have their voices heard. They're going to be heard, no doubt about it, and we're going to protect that.
And so you've heard from the governor there. Maybe you wanted to elaborate on that and how the messaging of what's happening inside the DNC, it could be overshadowed, not just by violence or even by something peaceful happening, but this could be overshadowing this moment for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, a couple good points on that. Number one, I hope the governor is being truthful. I hope he has allowed the police officers to have the authority to arrest these criminals. We just have to go back to Washington, D.C. and saw all the problems that happened around Union Station, and they had augmentation from NYPD. So I hope the police officers are allowed to do their job. They know how to handle this, Sean. Instigators can be pulled out quickly. They're not going to be surrounding them in riot gear. They're going to go in and take out the troublemakers. But yeah, this has a huge possibility of overshadowing what's going inside. The United Center is going to be locked down. No problem there. It's the outlying areas. Think of unplanned protests without permits going down the Magnificent Mile. This is all going to be to get attention. And it still shocks me today that we have people protesting against our best ally, Israel, in support of a terrorist group. I never thought I would see that in my lifetime. But the police know how to handle this. I am concerned about the numbers. I am glad the National Guard is there to augment them. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge for them, but I'm confident they will rise to the occasion.
There's also been some indication that some of the protesters would be coming from out of state, just like some of the attendees are too, right? You've got lawmakers traveling from all over the place. Does that also impact preparations?
Yeah, 100%. These are professional agitators. And it's funny, Emma, they come all the time. They always seem to show up for these events. And that's what the police have to be ready for. They have to be able to identify them, and they have to yank them out of the crowd, and they need to go to jail. They need to put those people in jail, and then they can keep this calm. But if these agitators, and I call them professional agitators, are allowed to do their job with no ramifications from law enforcement or from prosecution, it's going to make it very difficult. So let's hope the governor's being truthful and the police can arrest these people that are causing problems.
Yeah, and so many, even in that recent footage we were showing, are wearing masks. Makes you wonder, why are you covering up your identity if you are so confident in what you are protesting for? We got to leave it right there. Jody Weis, thanks so much for coming on this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.